What's up, guys? I'm gonna teach you how to dirty bulk today. Candy, cakes, cookies, muffins, anything you want to. That's stupid as fuck. I'm gonna show you how to build muscle and stay ripped all year round. And I'm gonna tell you why the dirty bulk is fucking retarded. Let's go. Alright, so a lot of guys, they do what's called the dirty bulk. And what they do is, man, they eat as much as they can. They get thousands and thousands and thousands of calories, like way more than they need in order to put on muscle. So the problem with that is, while you will be putting on muscle, you'll be putting on fat too, bro. And that's okay for like bodybuilders, right? This is what you see in the bodybuilding magazines. You know, these guys, they get fat in the off season. They spend half of the year getting fat, trying to put on as much muscle as possible. Then they spend the rest of the year cut it. That works better for them because they only have to be ripped one day of the year. If you're fucking Phil Heath, you only have to be ripped one day in September on the day of the Olympia. It doesn't matter how you look the rest of the year. You know what I'm saying? There's no off season for you and I. And there's a few other reasons why that's not optimal. One, because if you're watching this, you're probably on steroids, right? So that approach won't be optimal for us because when bodybuilders do the dirty bulk, what happens is they're on all types of drugs, so they're building more muscle during that time when they're getting fat, and they're putting on less fat than you and I would. And then when they cut, they're retaining more muscle and losing more fat because they're on a whole nother set of drugs. If you're not on drugs, it's not going to work that way. What's going to happen is you're going to get fat, you're going to put on muscle, but you're also going to put on fat, and you're not even going to put on that much more muscle than if you did a clean bulk. Then when you cut, you're gonna lose a lot of that muscle, and by the time this whole fucking charade is over, you'll be like just a little bit better, maybe. But you had to look like shit all year to do it. So I want to show you guys some different ways to clean bulk. This is how you can put on muscle but stay ripped all year round, right? You see guys, other YouTubers and other guys like losing their gains. Follow this advice. Should have never happened to you. You'll be straight. So for one, let's establish that you do need to be in a caloric surplus. The only people who are going to build muscle and burn fat at the same time are people who just started working out. Maybe if you're in your first 6 to 12 months of training, you can do it for sure because your body's adapting for sure. You want to take advantage of that time, right? It's a beautiful time. Or if you're on drugs, right? Other than that, that shit ain't happening, bro. I don't care if you get the magical amount of protein. That shit just ain't gonna happen, bro. Because when you're in a deficit, your body starts saving energy, and it only allocates your energy resources because it's in an energy deficit, right? Calories are energy. It's in an energy deficit. It's only gonna allocate the resources to the physiological functions that are most vital. That's breathing, you know, your circulatory system, your respiratory system, your brain, and it's going to cut out everything that's non-essential because it needs to conserve energy to live. Your body, you know, it does this. This is why women stop getting their periods when their calories are too low. This is why a lot of your hormones levels drops when you're in a deficit. Leptin, testosterone, things of that nature. And this is why muscle building stops when you're in a deficit because your body's trying to conserve as much energy as possible. It knows it does not need to build additional muscle to survive. It's going to focus on the things that it needs to do to survive. This is just fucking basic biology shit. I don't give a fuck how much protein you eat. You're not going to build muscle in a deficit if you've been training for over a year. People know that, so what guys do is they say, hey, I'm gonna be in a crazy surplus. I'm gonna eat everything, way more calories than I need, eat junk food if I need to, whatever I need to do to get that crazy surplus. And you don't have to eat junk food, but it's just hard to eat like clean food and get that many calories. So a lot of guys resort to junk food. And the problem is they get fat, but they know they're gonna get fat because it's a dirty bulk. They know they're gonna get fat, right? The problem with getting fat, there's many reasons, right? There's many reasons why getting fat is bad. I talked about it in many other videos. For one, fat cells don't go away. What happens is when your fat cells grow, they expand, they grow, they grow, they grow, they grow, then they split. Then they grow, they grow, they grow, and then they split again, they keep multiplying. Once you grow new fat cells, once those fat cells multiply, they don't go away when you lose fat. And when you lose fat, you don't actually lose fat. The fat cells just shrink. So when you grow new fat cells, you maintain that amount of fat cells. Basically, forever, you set a new set point for yourself. Yeah, of course, cells die and regenerate. You set a new baseline for your body as it pertains to how many fat cells you're going to maintain. So now, from now on, it's going to be a little bit more difficult for you to lose fat and easier for you to put on fat because you have more fat cells now. You did it to yourself, bro. All right, with this goddamn dirty bulk bullshit. And even worse than that, man, you're just fat. You're just fat. You spend a lot of time being fat. And the studies that prove this, man, I'm not making this shit up. You know, like, this is fucking basic biology. They should have taught you this in high school. What's even worse than that is once your body fat goes over about 15%. As a man, it's 30% as a woman, 15% as a man. What happens is you become less insulin sensitive. Now, why is that important? Insulin is a hormone that's responsible for shoveling nutrients into your cells. When you become less sensitive to insulin, it becomes more difficult for your body to actually burn fat. And it becomes harder to put on muscle because protein synthesis is now suppressed. So you're getting less protein synthesis and you're actually storing more fat because you're less insulin sensitive. Also, when you go above 15% body fat, your testosterone levels start to drop and your estrogen levels start to increase, right? And I don't have to tell you that having low testosterone is not optimal for building muscle. So why do bodybuilders do this? Well, because they're on drugs. They're injecting way more testosterone than you're making, right? So it's not a big deal to them, right? And they're on all types of fucking shit that I can't even pronounce. And these drugs cover up a lot of the effects that would happen to you and I. All right, so what do? Dirty bulking will leave you fat and ugly. Trying to put on muscle in a deficit is moronic. What do? Well, the answer is clear. You do a cleaner bulk. How do you do that? Let me show you. First of all, you want to get as lean as you want to be first. So go on a cut, get lean, get yourself a 6-pack, right? A visible 6-pack. Get lean, get below 15% body fat. I say go to at least 10% body fat. That's kind of like where I like to stay, in that realm, like 10 to 12. That's a good place to be. You will look impressive there. You know, you can maintain that year round. When you start getting single digits, this becomes harder to maintain year round. And staying that lean also has negative effects on your hormones as well. So get as lean as you want to be, around 10% body fat-ish, somewhere in that range. Then bulk, increase your calories. How many calories? All right, so let's say your maintenance calories, say you're at 10% body fat, your maintenance calories should be about your body weight times 15. That'll give you a rough idea. You know, it's going to be different for different people. That'll give you a rough idea. Your surplus should be about a 30% increase. Let's say I'm about 200 pounds. I'm a little less than that right now, but let's, for the sake of this, let's say I'm about 200 pounds. That puts my maintenance calories at 3,000 calories. 30% increase in calories puts my calories as about 3,900 calories per day. If you're scared to do that much, or if you have a slower metabolism, maybe do a 20% increase. That will put my calories at about 3,600 calories per day. But I like 30% increase. That is the right number to actually put on muscle and minimize fat gain. Here's the thing, eating way over that won't help you put on muscle faster. You don't need that many more calories to put on muscle, right? You don't need like just these crazy surpluses. That shit comes out of the drug culture. That shit comes out of bodybuilding drug users. Because when you're on steroids, the more calories, the better. It comes from that world. For naturals, you do not need that many calories. More calories is not better. But that's assuming I'm not walking around and shit. Like, I live in New York City, so I walk around a lot. You know, I work at a standing desk. This is my desk. I actually stand here all day. Then I train more. So, you know, I'm probably burning more calories than the average person. So what I like to say is, if you're an active person, right, you're training hard, just take your body weight in pounds, multiply that by 20, right? That puts me at 4,000 calories, which is not that far off from the 30% caloric increase. Now, here's what you do. You will be putting on some fat at the same time. You definitely will. But if you monitor your surplus and keep it conservative like that, then you won't put on as much fat. So you want to do that until you get to about 15% body fat. Because we talked about it before, once you get to about 15% body fat, one, you start kind of looking bad, then it goes right back into a cut. What I like to do is take my body fat in pounds, multiply that by 10. So that'll put me at 2,000 calories. And then I cut till I'm lean again. You're always going a little bit, 2 steps forward, maybe 1 step back, 2 steps forward, maybe 1 step back, 2 steps forward, maybe 1 step back, 2 steps forward. And at the end, you can see I keep moving forward. And what's cool is I didn't multiply my fat cells and I stayed ripped all year round. but I'm still putting on muscle. I call this micro cutting and bulking. What I used to do is just tell people, hey, get as lean as you want to get, and then first, that's important to start with that, right? Because like we said, if you go over 15% body fat, your fucking hormones go all out of whack and you start multiplying fat cells, okay? Then just bulk until your abs start to go away, and then cut again. So when people used to ask how long you should bulk and how long you should cut, that's what you're probably thinking of typing. It's not about the duration. You do it with how you look or your body fat percentage. So cut down to about 10% body fat, bulk till you get to 15, cut to 10, bulk till you get, and just keep doing that. I've been doing that shit my whole career. Like that's what you do. Now here's the beauty of it. Those of you who've ever done a contest, those of you who've ever been in elite condition where you're like really lean, you already know that once you bulk right after that, what happens is your body sucks up all them nutrients, right? And it creates a really anabolic environment, and those are when the most gains are made. Every competitive bodybuilder will tell you they make the most gains immediately after their contest, after they've been in a deficit for a long time, right? That's where they make the most gains. It's a period. It's like this anabolic period where you can put on the most size. It's because you're crazy insulin sensitive during that time. And if you do these micro cuts and bulks, you have more of these anabolic windows, right, throughout the year. It's a beautiful program. Listen, I first heard about this. It was called anabolic burst cycling. It was done by Bill Phillips, who was my idol when I was a kid. He used to do anabolic burst cycling. It was a strict 2 weeks of bulking and 2 weeks of cutting, and just keep doing that. I don't think you need to do it by time frame. Like after 20 years of fucking training and training thousands of people, being a personal trainer for 17 years, I don't think that you need to like do it by time frame. I think you do it by body fat percentage, man. If you do it right, if you're strict, bro, like you can bulk for like 2 months, and depending on how fast your metabolism is, depending on your genetics, you might only need to cut for like, you know, 2-3 weeks and then get right back into a bulk. If you do it right, that's kind of what it should look like. That's what it looked like when it was in my 20s. Now I might need to cut a little bit more because I'm older. You know, testosterone starts to drop when you get in your 30s, and you know, I'm 35 now. So now my bulks start looking like 4 to 6 weeks. That's on average. 3 to 4 weeks of cutting is what it's been looking like for me lately. And I expect the bulks to go down and the cuts to increase as I continue to age, right? That's just what it is. Unless I start getting on fucking testosterone replacement therapy, I don't think that's necessary yet. Maybe in my 40s, I'll be looking into that. But for now, I'm pretty happy with the way I'm progressing. Hey, if you like this video, hit subscribe. Turn on notifications, motherfucker. Follow me on Instagram. My name is King Keto. King Keto. Oh yeah, and if you're doing a ketogenic diet, man, this shit, like I do, you don't have to. Any diet to get you ripped. I just like doing ketogenic diets. I feel better. You know, I got more energy. And, you know, I'm able to stay leaner longer in the bulk. But you can do it with any kind of diet, man. I just want to put that out there. One thing, if you're bulking on keto, you might want to go a little higher calorie. A lot of people say they can't put on muscle on keto. Try going higher calorie. Like, for example, I used to do body weight times 20 on carbs, but I might go up to 5,000 calories on keto, right? And there's a few reasons for that I don't want to get into in that video, but it definitely helps, and it definitely helps you stay lean while you're bulking, and you don't feel all full and tired when you're eating all that food, you know? So anyway, but enough about that. Yeah, follow me on Instagram at King Keto. And I don't answer DMs no more. I don't answer DMs no more, man. Somebody yelled at me because I didn't answer them within 48 hours. And I said, you know what, fuck it, let me taper expectations. I used to say I try to answer DMs, and I got thousands of fucking DMs, and like now it's just shit ain't happening no more, man. Yeah, shit ain't happening no more. Sorry. But I do respond to as many comments as I can. Anyway, love you guys. Peace.